second for you. Getting closer.
What you got going on here, man?
So right now I make a product called U-Keys. We're patent pending, and it's a keyboard and piano key overlay. So we're patent pending because it got this curve right here, clips right on the end of your piano or keyboard, synthesizers, MIDI boards. You just slide it right on right here, and so it's not going anywhere. That's it. So you go to U-Keys Music on Instagram, U-Keys Music on Facebook. Just follow us, go to ukeys.com. We can customize anything. So if you got a band logo, you want glow-in-the-dark keys, go to ukeys.com. Follow us on U-Keys Music on Instagram.
Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Getting Close Up. I'm your host, Danielle Cox. And as you've seen, I have someone here with me today who is a musician and inventor, is making music more accessible. Today, we are getting close up with Jarvis Rhone. Your product is so amazing. We have this set up here and we're definitely going to get into that. But what I'd also like to get into first is your beginnings in music. So we know you play keyboard, piano. Mm-hmm. Do you play any other instruments?
Yes. Keyboards, of course, guitar, bass. In marching band, I played tuba, baritone, and even a little bit of violin and cello.
And you a band by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Was anybody else there with you?
Oh, yeah.
Just had you hooked up to like 5 different instruments and going.
This is fun.
So how did you learn?
So piano always been my passion, and my dad just grew up watching him in the basement, practicing, and he played in the church a lot, and so I just loved piano, and so really couldn't afford piano lessons growing up. So my dad got me a little keyboard from Radio Shack. I can still remember him handing
Shout
it
out
to
to
me.
Radio Shack.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
Radio Shack.
R.I.P.
And so he handed it to me, and from then on, I just really wanted to learn, and so I literally just taught myself how to read everything. Wow. From that point on, yeah.
So you're not, because I know a lot of artists, a lot of musicians who came up in the church, they are by ear. Mm-hmm. But you know how to read music as well, and that's the part. So you self-taught that, or which came first?
Believe it or not, so playing by ear came last. So I will play my feelings on the piano. So it wasn't necessarily by ear, but it was just how I felt, happy, just making noise. And then the piano lessons came, and then I taught myself how to play. So I was way more classically sound and in jazz and into things like that. And then later in life, probably my early 20s, late teens, that's when I actually started playing gospel.
Knowing how to read music, would that come more into play? You're trying to be a professional artist, or if you wanted to write music too?
That's more too if you want to be a professional. If you want to be a professional, and it definitely comes into play with writing music, which at the time I was like, I want to be a great, composer. So it's like, definitely need to learn how to read music. And that was one of the things my dad emphasized, was he only knew how to play by ear on guitar. Mm-hmm. He was pretty good, but he felt like he missed a lot of opportunities by only being able to play by ear because of his thing.
You said your dad played bass. Is there anybody else in your family that plays music?
Oh yeah, I got my little brother. He plays bass, and then my oldest brother, he's a singer, and then I got a brother, Jarvis Rhone, a JR saxophonic now over on TikTok and things, and he's a great saxophonist, and he plays several instruments as well too.
So y'all just a whole musical family.
Oh yeah.
You never linked up and did the whole Jackson's thing, or the whole made your own little
sounds of progress. He made me remember that. we did a little something.
All right. So tell me about your experiences working with other artists.
Okay. The artists that I play with, it's been pretty fun. I've never really had any issues. Of course, I don't like to say names, but there's a few where what they say is there's a star in the building, and that means it's gonna be, you gotta be buttoned up. It's gonna be a lot of demands, a lot of change ups, and so. But just playing with different artists locally, nationally, it's been pretty fun.
How do you get into those type of opportunities? Like what happened? How did it come across for you to be playing for a big name, as you said it?
So for me, it's just mainly any musician. The formula is you got to build at home first. And so when I was 18, 19, I was already had my own shows at casinos like Al Capri and Harris and things like that. Like I wasn't even supposed to be there, but I already had a good name. And so people, bring me in, and eventually I had my own band, Fly Rhythm. And so I ended up doing a show for a local artist here, but he's actually pretty international, by the name Aloe Key. And so when I MD for him, it opened so many doors. Because that's when I started traveling, going to LA, going to different places, doing arena shows, and then that's kind of what led me just moving out to LA.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that does segue into what I want to talk about next. But what you said first was really interesting. You made a name for yourself by performing and putting yourself out there a lot, and that buzz is what got you into working with well, we're not going to name names, but some other artists. Right. Which this is a name drop free zone. If you want to drop a name, you can drop a name if the experience was good. I'll say that.
It's always good. It's just in the business, it's just it's just looked at kind of like, I don't know.
It's frowned upon a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, well.
It's like trying to clout chase a little bit. But.
I mean. So moving out to LA. So you got into producing.
Yeah, producing.
And that led to you wanting to go to LA. Tell me a little bit more about that, because that is a highly competitive.
Super.
I mean, LA already it's competitive if you just want to make tacos. There's like a million. So being a producer, that's like the next thing.
Yeah.
The only thing more common than tacos is producers. Mm-hmm. So tell me about that. Like, what made you decide to do that?
So I've been in Kansas City. I was making a name for myself even as a producer, and so I would do my own listening parties. This is before I went to LA, and so I was making a name as a producer here locally, and I have family in the music business out in LA at the time, and so just segueing out there, I was like, man, I want to be a music producer, but really take it to the next level. But like you said, it's so competitive. And I didn't realize, I thought I was doing, really good. I thought I was ready. And then that's when, kind of how I was approaching it was kind of like a pipe dream. And there was such a huge learning curve. First, I didn't have business cards, just readily available. Your demos. And at the time, that's when everybody was switching to USBs. And so I'm still running around with CDs and passing things out. Oh. It was a climb. It definitely was a climb. And which kind of segued into how I even came up with U-Keys. So one of the things that I did to stand out there, but I was already doing it in Kansas City, was I would paint my keyboard keys to just, have my own brand. Because I did understand brand. And so that was one of the tools I used to stand out was my keys.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. It was a bit serendipitous, it seems, of how you ended up going from designing something just for yourself, painting the keys on your keyboard, to making that switch to saying, I need to come up with an idea. So how did that start?
So again, to eat out there, some people assume I went out there to become a pianist or something. And it's no, that's how I ate. So to eat as well was playing keyboard keys for other producers. And that was just a way to get in just in the studio period, big studios. And so being in there, some other artists came in and they seen my keys on the wall, kind of similar to how we are now. Mm-hmm. And I was up in the booth and, I noticed they were talking hey, whose keyboard is that? And so they asked, and I seen it, was hey, what's going on? It's yeah, man, where'd you buy those? And so that was kind of my aha moment, man, how can I customize other people's keyboards, So
ding!
That was the beginning to a long journey.
And so let's talk about that journey. What is it about? Because you came up with the idea. You were painting them originally, but it was a point where you came up with something that could work for everybody, that could be customizable. How did that process go of you dreaming up how this should work?
I'm not gonna lie. It took a long time, and at the time I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for what this really entailed. I was still pursuing my music production career, like, wholeheartedly. And then, so it was actually years later, after I moved back to Kansas City, and it was just like, man, it's still a good idea. So I started doing some market research. So then in 2018 is when I started getting serious with it and just started really pursuing it. Started to put a little team together, really putting out questionnaires, seeing, would people even be interested in buying it or anything.
Right.
So it was a long journey, but eventually we made it.
And what I liked in your video, your not tutorial, but your demonstration video, you're showing how it's just really a little piece that kind of clicks on and it just hooks onto it.
Hooks onto it, yeah.
And that's the part that right there is what you patented. Is that correct?
Yes.
So what was the patent process like?
So the patent process, it took a few years. It was, and that's one of the things. It was a God thing. Like the whole process was when I really got serious with it. So the patent process, basically, I filed a provisional patent, but I already knew nothing existed. Then hired a team, and basically they did all my drawings and sent that in. So that process wasn't too hard. It is expensive.
I was going to ask that. Like, you talking about a team, and you talking about somebody that's like drawing up the designs for you.
Yeah, engineers, and they got to do it exactly. Put the shadows in, and you think it's just a drawing. No, they really have to have everything right.
I took AutoCAD in high school.
Yeah, it was nothing that I could do. So I had and I wish I would have brought them. I had like a general idea of what I wanted, and they made it kind of like, so they did a really good job. So the process wasn't really hard. It was just, believing in yourself. Is this going to be worth it?
Right.
Is this investment, this time going to be worth it? And as far as I can see, yeah, it is.
And you took a very measured approach. You did market research, which means you just basically said, is there something else out here just like this? I'm not going to step on any toes. If I try to do this, is someone else already doing it? Kind of like what they talk about in Shark Tank.
Right.
It's like a lot of the types of the questions that they ask you there, because they want to make sure that how easy is it going to be for somebody else to do this? And you snapped in on something that just so happened to not be out there.
Exactly. Believe it or not, I tried to patent it. Actually, years before, I actually found another lawyer, and basically he laughed me out of the room, basically, because he was like, "It's so obvious, Oh yeah, he was like, "It's so obvious, you can't do that," and that's actually kind of where I kind of did rechange the design and everything, but it's like, you can't patent a sticker. It's like, it's like, okay, we're gonna see.
It's like, oh, it's not gonna be a sticker though.
Right, it's not a sticker.
I mean, he wasn't wrong, but I'm just saying,
right.
It's the point, and that kind of
exactly kind of put fuel in it, and it's like, okay, people need to really understand. I need to communicate better what this is and what the vision is. And
that taught you a lot about your vision, how to pivot and change from, okay, I see it this way, but what's special? What's something specific and unique that I could do? And that, I think, is a lot of the times where people get stuck. They get discouraged. They get stuck. What were the lessons that you learned about not getting stuck and continuing to push for your dream?
So my whole walk. I mean, the whole entrepreneurial walk is nothing but pivots. Even when you think you're reaching that peak, you realize that, first of all, it's probably another valley, and then there's another climb. So, just one of the things I had to, I learned about myself is that just, I can persevere. I had to learn to not quit. And so I ain't gonna lie, it used to be so easy for me to quit. Like, I could just go do this. I could just go play piano. I can just, but I was like, no, I'm gonna stick with it. And so just learning to pivot, learning like, okay, you get punched here, just roll with it and figure another route out, and just, I mean, everything I do, that's how I came up with U-Keys and was able to get the patent. That's how now I have another patent pending with my with the Braille on it.
Yeah.
So now U-Keys has Braille and tactile lettering on it. And that's from just jumping out and people giving me feedback. So even though it feels like every time it feels like it's a no, you get way more no's in anything that you do that's worth fighting for. But those yeses, when they come, is sweet.
And I definitely want to get into the accessible part of this because that to me is so exciting. But I do want to ask you about, so we've talked about the process of you coming up with the idea, getting a patent, and how that all worked. Getting an actual product in hand, what was that like? What were the hurdles or some of the, because pivot is probably going to be a huge word in this story.
That was probably the hardest thing I've probably ever done. So being just a nobody basically. So reaching out to these multi-million-dollar manufacturers, like, hey, can you do this for me? Can you help me? It's like, how'd you even get my number? So basically, I was denied by everybody. I ended up getting a word of mouth, just through networking, through NAM. Just somebody ended up giving me a referral back to a company that had already denied me, and so they were able to make my molds for me. But before even that, I had my molds made in China, which everybody thinks go to China. Well, I had my molds made in China. They sent me back my samples. I was like, great, this is exactly what I need. Now, granted, I had NAM show, which is like the literally going on right now.
And NAM, that's the National Association of Music Merchants?
Yes.
Okay, right.
So I had just had my approval to come on. I didn't have my real product yet. I had samples that I had just made myself.
Wait. So they wanted you to do an exhibit.
Oh yeah.
For a product.
It really didn't.
Don't
tell them nothing.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's just between us. That's between us.
So yeah, that's the hustle.
Yeah, that's a hustle right there.
So I knew I would have it, but I didn't really have it. But the show, it was about 5 months out at the time. So I had the Chinese manufacturer. They made it. They said they were going to give it to me. I'm like, oh, great. So I'm doing a calculator. I'm like, okay, I'll have it in like 2 months, basically. So October rolls around. Mm-hmm. Hey, if you buy, a little bit more, we'll expedite your shipping and the process because we haven't even started yet. Like, you need to be a priority customer. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh.
So that's when, me being part of the NAM association, I reached out. They referred me to the manufacturer in the States because I could have just been like, oh my God, I quit. I can't do it.
Yeah, a lot of people would have just panicked.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad because I've already paid for the exhibit booth, everything. Everything is pretty much paid for. The anxiety was real, but I was like, okay, I have to figure this out. Mm-hmm. Quitting, I can't quit anymore. That's not an option. So finally reached out to the manufacturer. They put me up right. They made it. It was great. And literally, I tell you, like, literally probably 3 days before my flight to LA for the exhibit, that's when U-Keys was really made. Like 3 days before the flight.
I had palpitations just listening to the story. I already know how it ends, and I'm like, yeah. He gonna get it? Is he gonna get it?
Yep. Yep.
So I can only imagine how stressed out you were.
Oh yeah.
But you just so happened to get it in time to do the exhibition. And did you perform as well, or
just a little bit at the booth, like to demonstrate how to product works.
I mean, they got it across a lot of eyes
Oh yeah.
too. I mean, you just kind of, it's another level of exposure.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. That what that's did for me is unexplainable. I mean, like I said, the braille, the educational aspect, all that's from just networking and talking with people at the NAMM show.
I said I'm so excited about that. I love that Boondocks one. This is dope, and I love that that's the one you have in with you today. And there was also one I saw that had a dragon on. I checked out your Etsy because I saw you're on there too. We'll have links. We'll get back to that later. But the educational aspect, that's going to open doors. Did you realize how many doors that this could potentially open, or did it really just come through, like you said, networking and realizing, okay, there's more. I came up with this idea because there's more this is supposed to do.
Exactly, and that's something I really want to emphasize, just to all entrepreneurs of any kind. Like, I look at this product. This product is made for the eyes. That's all I saw for you keys was, looking cool on stage, glow in the dark keys. Oh yeah, rocking out, got the lights. That was the idea, but. Just after talking to teachers, and then just from my experience with people with disabilities and things, and someone's like, man, what could I do for the blind? And lo and behold, this printer I have, this manufacturer, Muto, they were showing how they literally just created this 1.5D system where you can print braille. And so I was like, man, how can I incorporate that? And so it's been great. Like, several schools and teachers, like shout out to Perkins, one of the first blind schools in America. They've been helping a lot of just a lot of excitement behind it. It's really been blowing my mind.
Because that could change a lot of lives.
Oh yes.
I mean, people obviously were learning how to play piano. Blind people were before this,
right?
But to have a tool that could help people who learn in different kinds of ways. Because as you mentioned, with people who can see and people who can hear, you may be someone who learned how to play by ear, or you might learn how to read music. Those options are different for someone who's differently abled.
Exactly.
And so now they have options.
Exactly. That's just the beauty. It's like, I was looking at it with my eyes, and now it's just who's going to be able to touch it. That's one of those things just beyond me. Where it's going, I'm looking to right now. One of the goals is to get it at least presented to every school in America. It's already in Canada, Australia.
So you've already got schools on board with this.
Yes.
So have you? I know, United States, there's a lot of challenges when it comes to music programs.
Exactly.
Because a lot of them don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
In schools. So what have your efforts been like? Have you had a lot of headway with efforts locally?
Yes. It's the product now is in the school of the blind in Kansas, informally though. It was given to the teachers sample right now, and we're still talking about it. Trying to get them to help just expound on it. But the next initiative is because what I'm realizing is, even though it's like braille, there's the tactile.
Yeah, hold on, we'll see it.
There's a tactile aspect to it, to where even the letter G's or the letters are raised. And so what I'm realizing is, children, they just like it. They just like to touch it. And so, and it started making me go back to how I grew up. Remember at the beginning of this conversation, I said, I really didn't have piano lessons for a while. And one of my first times with the piano was just in the classroom with everybody else. And the teacher would be like, sing me your name on the piano. And then sometimes she would let us, just play on it a little.
Play around.
Yeah. And so that's one of the initiative that I'm pushing now with UKeys is, I want it to be in every primary educational school. Not necessarily to learn piano, but just to introduce music, just to introduce the piano or scale, just as an introductory tool.
Yeah, That's dope. I absolutely love that. Again, that was one of the things I was most excited to talk about because that's just an incredible opportunity for a lot of people. So how have you talked about the connections that you've made in the different schools that are in different countries that you've worked with. How have those connections helped you with expectations that you now have on yourself, on your product, on your brand, where you can go from here?
It definitely gave me confidence that I didn't know, I have or, could possess. But at the same time, the expectation now, it's a double-edged sword. The more I talk to people and the more excited people become, then it's like the more I have to produce, the more I have to present, the more I have to keep getting out of my comfort zone to make phone calls, to make these meetings and these phone calls. And it's been a double-edged thing. It's been tough, but it's been great.
It's been pushing you.
Pushing in every aspect. Yeah.
And until you think about your journey as a whole, the roller coaster ride that this was, and knowing that basically signing up to get on the roller coaster like 5 or 6 more times, maybe.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's really what you're doing.
Exactly. It's like, I just got over it. Oh, and you don't do it all over.
Like I'm back in this line.
Exactly.
But it's a huge payoff, great reward for that. What's next for you?
Like I said, I'm hoping to really get education in keys and every school and shoot around the world now. I mean, there's really no limit to what this can do. I'm hoping that maybe I could find a partner or a strategic partner or some aspect that can really help propel it and help not just our pockets, but literally. I mean, these kids around here, like you said, it just blew my mind of who's going to help, and so the possibilities. So I'm just looking forward to changing the world.
Hey, changing the world. See, look at that. That's a bigger coaster.
There you go.
I know you ready. Are your kids learning music? You got your father twins.
Twins, yep. 5-year-old twins. Yep.
They're 5? Oh, wow. Are they learning music right now?
Oh, yeah. They can play the skill. Started out with you keys.
Oh.
But yeah, they were my first little,
guinea pigs.
Exactly.
Aren't they all?
Yeah, exactly. But no, they love it. Yeah, they can play the little scale, and they know where C is, how to find it, and all that. But
they're doing better than me. That's awesome. I mean, I could play a couple things, like I could play like that classics, like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Okay.
The first movement of Jingle Bells.
Okay.
That's the first movement. The rest of it, I don't know.
You need some Yuki.
I know. Now that we think about it,
right.
I probably need to get that for myself. So where can I buy this? Where can people find your products and more information about you? So
right now we're mainly pushing just the UKeys educational, and so you can go to ukeys.com. And you can go to Etsy at UKeys. You can go to our Facebook, and there'll be links to buy as well. We're working to do our second prototype with the professional UKeys, because we just want it to be even better. By the time we really get back to the original vision, it's going to have something special. That is so exciting. I cannot wait to see what's next and how big this blows up. Again, I have complete faith that this is going to help so many people, and I'm just amazed by it. It's dope. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. It's dope. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. It was fun having you here. It was a great conversation, and I have a feeling we'll probably be talking again soon. Oh, yeah. For the next level. Exactly. The next level, baby. That wraps up our show. I'd like to again thank my guest, Jarvis Rhone, for being here today and being such an amazing guest and having a demo for us, a little, demonstration. And if you liked what you've seen today, make sure that you click like, you share, you subscribe so we can keep bringing it to you. Links for him and his Etsy page will be down in our description box below. Episodes of Getting Close Up air bi-weekly on Fridays, so make sure you continue to check us out.
Next Friday, tune in to GCU Reviews. You never know what you're going to get. But we like to tell you what's hot and what's not. You don't want to miss it. Again, thanks, friends, for watching. Y'all be good as possible. And I'll see you again soon for another close-up. I'll be checking for you.